Right, let's see if this is the correct one. It is. Welcome back, welcome back. My stream crashed. But I did get in the end. It was a reboot that I needed to do. So, let's see if this is actually on first, the stream. It is. Good stuff. Right, feature race time. Let's see what the strategies are going to be. So at the back we've got... So hard medium is obviously the best strat. Can these guys make the hard medium work? Is another question. Or are we going to see some two stops? I think looking at the tyre wear from the sprint race, we are going to struggle with some of them doing the one stop, even with hard medium. It's very high tyre wear at this track with 5 times wear as well. It is touch and go. Some drivers are going to be very quick at the end of the race as a result of this, if they are good at managing the tyres. So time will tell. So we've got mediums for Zimmer, softs for Yuri, and then everyone else on hards, including everyone at the front. You always expect to see one or two put on the mediums at the front of the grid to try and create a gap. But that's not happened this time round. But let's get going. We've got 23 laps around Watkins Glen, one of the best courses in GT7, that's for sure. Cherry on pole leads Harry, who's got a great chance of getting a solid feature race result for the first time this season, starting in P2. Deco with a chance of winning as well in the Mazda, which has very good tyre wear. A little bit wide, some of these guys coming through turn 1. Wack in 4th, and then Pasty struggling a bit, going a little bit wide around some of these corners, bringing in Genesis up the hill. Turbo Boy right behind as well. Genesis pulling out of the slipstream is a mistake. Now Turbo Boy's going to get that position. You can see how quick he is. There he is in front, but Turbo Boy decides to back out of it into the bus stop. A little bit further up. Oh, Harry's got a penalty already. Right, let's see how brutal the penalty system is here. 2.5 seconds coming. So far so good. There, I think that's the penalty. Yeah, that was the penalty. So 2.5 seconds for cutting the inside of the entry to the chicane for Harry. That's great news for Deco. We saw Turbo Boy losing that position to Astral, actually. So Astral getting a good start in P8. Turbo trying to get the position back and gets it. Oh, Astral a little bit wide there. Mason and Spin side by side, our top two from round 1. Spin's got the position on Mason. Then we got H-Boss and Yuri very close behind and a bit of a gap further back. We've got some changes in positions with this penalty being served as well by Harry. He's down all the way. He's behind his teammate who started 10th. But he's crucially ahead of the championship leader Colin. So this is a good opportunity for BMW to start playing a bit of a team game, not allowing Colin to make any progress up the field. But is that going to be over already? Colin's a little bit alongside. Harry gets a better exit from the corner and keeps the position. Everyone just learning how to navigate the track on these hard tyres. Spin's got a good run on Astral here. So already up 2 positions, Spin, on the opening lap. Everyone's very close together still. Spin has a little look. No can do this time round. What about Turbo? Turbo looks like he's got a good run on the Genesis in the Audi. Bit confusing. That is a lovely run he's got. Genesis not defending the inside. Is Turbo going to be able to pull alongside? He's not, and he backs out of the move. Maybe a little bit too much. Falls to about a second behind. Pasty starting to put pressure on Wack, and Deco is now putting pressure on Cherry. Wants to get the lead of the race early doors here. Citroen versus Mazda. Not said that too many times in ALR. Cherry's got the position. Wax still heading off. Genesis Turbo Boy close as well. We've got a gap. Colin's made a mistake somewhere. He's fallen down to 11th. He's fallen down to 12th. So where was this? Problems for our championship leader early on in the race. Yuri's sending it. And H-Boss is going to try and follow him through. He squeezes his car in there. Colin loses a bit of traction. And with that, the position, he's got a nice gap to Kenny, Zimmer, JMS, and Pyro all the way at the back as well. So we've missed a spin for Pyro, but I won't go back. Actually, yes, I will. I want to see what happened. So into the bus stop we go. Yeah, there's a corner there. There we go, and it was that easy to fall all the way to the back. So he's trying to recover. Zimmer is up there. Kenny is getting shuffled down. Zimmer's made a mistake, I think, or potentially there was some contact. So he's got a great run on Kenny. Already loads of action in the feature. He's on the mediums. Kenny is on the hards. This should be fairly straightforward, you'd think, for Zimmer, but he gets bumped into a spin. I'm going to assume that was reported because Zimmer has been sent right to the back there. So, some troubles for one Citroen. Here's another Citroen in the lead of the race, still withholding the pressure from Deco fairly well. And Spin and Astral losing a bit of traction there coming out. Yuri trying to get another position. He is on the softs. He needs to be getting past these guys. Harry on the hards right in front of him. He could brake very late into these corners and just complete the overtakes. But he's being a little bit cautious, which I don't think you can afford to do if you start on the soft tyres. And look at that. He's got so much speed but nowhere to go. Now he really needs to hold this around the outside, uses all the track, and on the inside he should be able to get this move completed now, up into P9 for Yuri. End of lap 2, he's still got some good life on those tyres. Got Genesis looking a little bit keen to progress up the field as well, and something's happened at the front. So what's happened to Cherry here? I think he's going to make a mistake into the corner. Very deep, very, very deep, and that is potentially a penalty. I think he lifted enough to avoid the penalty actually, because that was a huge... Oh no, he's still got a second. So, disaster for Team Citroen at the start of the feature. Deco in the lead now. I did say he could quite easily win this race with the tyre wear if he could drive away from the pack. He had the pace in the sprint, which we saw him with his catch-up as well. Cherry... We'll have to see what happens when we get to the penalty line. This is looking good for Wack, and it's looking good for Pasty. Very good for Team Mazda, who are about to have 2 drivers in the podium spots quite early on in the race. Pasty really sniffing up the back of Wack. It makes him go a bit deep into the little horseshoe, that corner there. Oh, he sent it! Turbo Boy's absolutely sent it on Genesis there. The door was left open. They avoided contact, and he gets that position really easily past. He's about to lose. He almost span. He saved it. There's the penalty with 3 wide. Pasty's got a 2.5 penalty himself for his troubles. Cherry's been shuffled down to P6 now. Everyone lining up to overtake him. He's trying to get that 1 position back on Genesis. Genesis is still sending it. Everyone's still going 2 by 2 round these corners. Genesis nearly loses it, gets the position on Cherry. So from P1 to P6 in a single lap for Cherry. Genesis is showing that he belongs to tier 3 for sure. He's doing pretty good in these races. So Pasty is in 3rd now. Turbo Boy might want to get the move done on him. Let's see how these guys take the corner. Both of them a little bit wide through turn 1. You do carry a bit more speed if you get away with that. But he's going to start closing in on Pasty. Is it going to be enough? We know the Mazda's good on a straight line, and I think it's not going to be enough to actually even have a sniff of a move. So yeah, Pasti just needs a hot lap until he reaches the penalty line to try and avoid losing any more time, but he's got very wide around that corner. It's going to bring Turbo Boy back in a little bit. They're all struggling to hit the apexes on these hard tyres, that's for sure. The top two have completely galloped off. The top one, sorry, Deco, into the distance ahead of Wack. Now here comes the pen. There's two positions. Genesis up to 4th. Cherry gets one back. Spin, our race winner's up to 6th now. Yuri's trying to get him on his soft tyres. They are over 50% worn now. And yeah, he gets that corner wrong, and Colin's going to sweep through. So he's been on a good little recovery these last couple of laps. Up into 7th, right behind Spin again. So it's all changing pretty quickly. Deco just rounding the final corner to start lap 4. There's Yuri just slotting back into the pack. He's going to have to pit in a lap or two though. And he's going to be very out of position. Let's see who's at the back struggling. Zimmer and Kenny have been booted towards the rear. Pyro's still in with the lead group, but fallen back a little bit again. He's last another lap in the 49s. So he's made a mistake on the last lap. Not having a good time on the hards. H-Boss just holding off JMS at the moment. Oh, wow. What's going on here? Cherry's fallen back to 10th. Harry and Pasti have got past. Astral's going to try and get past as well. Astral falling outside the top 10 after a good start to the race. And then now there's a penalty that's just popped up for Yuri. He might lose 3 spots here with just half a second. So Harry's going to get promoted. Pasti, yeah, what about Astral? He's going to try and do it. Yeah, that was a good corner there for Astral to complete the move. He was a little bit boxed in, but he still managed to get the position. Wide there on the entry for Yuri, struggling to take the corners now with the worn tyres. Cherry's getting past. So very topsy-turvy race here. Are we going to see Yuri diving into the pits here? He is. So the soft gamble, I don't think, paid off there. He will at least get an undercut on these guys. Potentially not even going to put fuel in. Wack has a little bit of trouble himself. Turbo Boy's now caught up to him. Stay directly in the slipstream to maximize it. Here we go. He goes for the bump draft. He wants to try and catch Deco. So Turbo Boy thinking about the race win. And yeah, he's showing some great pace as well. Especially with BMWs behind and Colin behind as well. Speaking of, Spin is in 5th and Colin's in 6th now. So they are starting to make some good progress. Lapping in the 46s now on the hards. Turbo absolutely chucking it in on entry. And he's going to have a good run out the exit. Is it going to be enough for a dive bomb? I think he's in the mood for one. And he's going for it. Wack leaves him the space. And that's a fairly straightforward position for Turbo. Up into P2. H-Boss still holding JMS behind him. Where did Yuri come out? He has come out in last. He's on the mediums now. Doesn't look like he put in any fuel. what he needs to do is start setting some fastest laps. He needs to be in the 46s on these mediums as a minimum, but he only got into the 47s on the softs. So it doesn't bode well, although he was in traffic then. Right, Wack is under pressure again going up the hill. This time it's Genesis who's starting to close in on him. So, yeah, he's falling back a little bit now. I think Wack was helped on that straight with the slipstream of Turbo Boy. So the top 4 are all hard runners. Top 5. Actually, everyone down to Zimmer in P14s on the hards currently. So expected to see very similar strategies. Another 5 laps on these hards, probably. I'll stick with this with Genesis because he's definitely looking pretty racy right now. Potentially the car is coming to him. We know that the cars all perform differently on different tyres. Some of them are more comfortable and easy to control on the harder compounds. That was a good exit. I think Genesis could put Wack under pressure after turn 1 again. Whoa, spin! What happened there? You saw him in the wing mirrors going completely deep. He just gifts that position to Mason. That's a disaster for BMW. They are very close to McLaren in the constructors as well. So the one McLaren is beating 2 BMWs at the moment. Back to this battle. Wack got a good exit out of turn 1. Genesis potentially distracted a little bit from spin going deep. Lapping in the 48s now. Deco's in the 47s. Turbo's just in the 47s. These guys in the 48s. Colin's in the 47s, so he's really tearing through. He's actually catching up to the back of Genesis quickly. 47s for spin. This one is not going to be a 47. 47s for Harry. Oh no. So Pasty shuffled down a couple of positions already in this race. He's going to be shuffled down a lot more because 2.5 is brutal. Cherry and Astral and H-Boss and JMS, 4 positions lost, with Pyro in 13th just ahead of Zimmer. Right, so Genesis is in this position now where he's going to have to overtake Wack or Colin's going to pull a move on him. Nice to see that the racing is still very close after 8 laps. Good exit there for Genesis. Again, he's going to encounter this problem that we saw previously. He's going to catch up to Wack a little bit too soon. You don't want to catch up to him completely on the run through, but he goes a little bit wide around one of the corners, which loses him a little bit of momentum. Really revving out the Audi as well. There's the braking point, and he's gone very brave into it. Is he going to be able to keep it under control in the second half of the bus stop? He does, and he shuts the door on Wax. That's up into P3 now for Genesis. Colin is the next one who's going to try and take Wack. Ooh, I thought he was going to go for it. Wack has left the door open. Spin is back in the hunt as well. He needs to get this position off Colin, so Colin is the man under a bit of pressure. I think Colin may have just given Wack a little bump there, and he's going to try and let Wack keep position. He doesn't want to let Spin go as well. Spin has to back out of it. He had nowhere to go there. And again, he's just looking, he's not going, but Wack's giving him a little bit too much room in these corners, which is stopping him from getting a better exit. Again, left the door completely open, and that is going to be a straightforward position for Colin. Now, what can Spin do? He's now got two people, he's got a driver in between him and Colin now. Here we go, he's definitely got some good overspeed here. He's going for it into turn 1. Does break a little bit later. They both failed. Well, Spin really should have taken that a bit tighter, but Wack saw it, took an even wider line through the corner. Now Spin's got the inside line here. He should be able to get a car's width ahead. No, he doesn't, and Wack takes that chunk of tarmac back. Here comes Mighty. He's going to give his teammate a bump draft, and that's going to be an easy overtake for Spin in the end. And Harry's going to try and follow him through. That's another 2 positions lost for Wack. It's turning into a bit of a depressing one, but he's still there in terms of the time. He's not too far away from these guys. He just needs to try and stick with them now. Anything happening a bit further up. Everyone's a little bit gapped. Big mistake there from Genesis. It's going to allow Colin to start to close in on him. Turbo Boy lapping in the 47s still. Same with Deco. Top 3 in the 47s. Colin making his way through in the 48s. 49 for Wack, who's been in a lot of battles. He needs to try and get back up into the 47s, which he was setting earlier on, and he can stick with these guys fairly comfortably. So we're on lap 10. Yuri has made 1 position up on Kenny, who hasn't come in yet. So Kenny, his last lap was in the 50s, so he made a mistake. And Yuri is lapping in the 45s and 46s, so definitely the quickest man on track. So he should be the race leader when everyone comes in on lap 13. Deco, another one in the 47, same as Turbo. Now, what can Colin do? He's a little bit too far to have a go at Genesis. Wack might be able to reel in Harry a little bit up the hill. This is the ideal car length that you want to be behind someone and take advantage of the slipstream up the hill. You need to stay directly in though. Maybe a couple of meters further forward and Wack would have been able to have a look at the overtake there. That might be a pen for Harry. Very out of shape through the bus stop. There's the second. So, good news for Wack. Harry's going to drop behind him again. Ooh, he needs to... Well, he saved it pretty well, actually. Luckily for Harry, Cherry is still quite far back. At the head of a big group of cars by the looks of it, though. So through goes Wack. Cherry just ahead of Pasty, who's going to serve a second. So that's going to promote Pyro back up into 9th. So that's a good recovery so far for Pyro. Looks like he's going to be able to drive away from Pasty. So it's not looking as good for Team Mazda as it was at the start. They did have both drivers in the top 3. H-Boss lapping as quick as he has done on this one. So yeah, it looks like the Audi is feeling good on the worn hard tyres. Better than some of these other ones, that's for sure. Zimmer has come into the pits now, so he's the second driver to make a pit stop. Let's see what he's putting on. If he goes on hards, he'll be going to the end. It looks like he's not going to the end. That is not 13 laps of fuel, I'm pretty sure. Now out he comes into last place. He's quite far cut off. He is on the softs though, so again, similar to Yuri, he's got a really good opportunity for massive undercuts on some of these drivers. Yuri lapping in the 47s now on these mediums. 47.4 compared to the leader who's on a 47.9, so he's still half a second a lap quicker than the race leaders. We might start seeing some people coming in who think that they can make the mediums last the full 11. Be a very hard final lap if they do that. Deco's one of them that could, but if I was him, I'd probably just stay out. Because it looks like he'd come out in traffic, to be honest. Stay out and come in on lap 13. Yeah, he's definitely staying out. Turbo Boy might want to come in though. And that's exactly what he's doing. Is Colin going to be able to get around him? Yeah, he's not close enough. Colin takes a bad final corner though, goes a little bit wide around it. So Spin up into P3, Genesis up into P4. So Spin did get past Genesis at one point as well. Whack promoted back up into P5. Let's see where Turbo Boy comes out, because if he's out in clear air, he could really close the gap to Deco. Deco has to respond and pit this lap. The gap wasn't so big that you can stay out multiple laps, I don't think. Especially if he puts on soft tyres. I think it's going to be mediums, for sure. So Yuri is through like we thought. So Yuri is definitely net race leader, but he has to pit one more time. Out comes Turbo, comfortably ahead of Zimmer, who is going to be ahead of Harry actually. Zimmer put in a lot less fuel and he's managed to get the jump on Harry, who was in the top 7, I think. We've also had a disconnect, that's Astral. I think he had a lobby internet issue, sorry. God, couldn't find the word for internet, that's bad. Spin really keeping Colin honest here, but this is potentially the fight for the podium again, so both of them on for a double podium. What does the fuel look like? We know the BMW doesn't have as good a fuel. Colin's got a lot more fuel in the tank, so potentially being fuel saving a little bit as well. Let's see. No, he doesn't look like he's fuel saving at all. It's just the superiority of the McLaren. So Deco has come in. Colin's going to carry on for another lap. Spin's going to try and get the undercut on Colin. Genesis carries on. Okay, very interesting strategies at play here. Wax in, Cherry's in. This is the ideal lap to come in for maximum time. H-Boss carries on as well, so they're extended by an extra lap here just to make sure that the mediums last. Pasty's promoted into 4th, JMS promoted into 5th, and then Yuri, who's already made his pit stop, but he's got over 50% worn tyres now. Oh, and he's going to get a huge penalty for that. Nearly spins it as well. Let's see what that comes out as. Oh, he might have got away with it. Okay, lucky for him, he's got away with it. He's still lapping in the 47s. Deco is out ahead of Turbo Boy still. Turbo just ahead of Kenny on very worn hards. Then we have Zimmer, who's out on the soft, so he might actually hunt down Turbo. Spin's come out behind them, so he'll be a bit confused as to why he's all the way down in 11th. Whack just ahead of Harry. And then Pyro's come in as well. Even though his lap chart isn't showing when he came in, but I think he's just left the pits because his mediums are pretty fresh. So he's at the back, but he's going to get some undercuts done. Well, he hopes anyway. So this surely has to be Colin's final lap before he comes in, or unless he's going to try a hard soft. I don't think you can do a hard soft. But is he going to lose that spot to Spin? He had the fuel to continue going, so he's not going to have to put in as much fuel. It depends how strong this in-lap was. Genesis in as well, so we'll stick with these guys. H-Boss, I'm assuming, is coming in as well, just a little bit further back. And Pasty's in as well with 0% fuel. So he's been revving out the Mazda. Mazda can be good on fuel if you short shift. It can be very, very good. but if you go and rev it out, it's very, very bad. It's one of them. Turbo looks like he's getting through. Now Spin is the one that we're interested in. There's Turbo Boy, you can see his car just going through ahead. Colin and Genesis. Oh no, Genesis is slow coming out, so Spin has not been able to get an undercut done on Colin. The gap is pretty much as it was. Zimmer up into 6th ahead of Harry, and Genesis down into 8th with his slow pit exit. Wack's going to try and get him as well. So this is the downside of staying out longer than everyone else. He has lost several positions there. And another one to Wack. He's going to have to get some overtakes done on track with the fresher tyres. Cherry in 10th. Let's just have a quick look through. Pyro after the pits is up to 12th now. That might be a penalty for Pasty. Struggling. Yeah, there's the half second. JMS 14th, Kenny 15th. So, we've got Yuri on very worn mediums. He might actually come in this lap. Deco on very fresh mediums, chasing him down fairly quickly. Let's see. I think he's still on his out lap. He's not. He's on a hot lap and he's 7/10ths quicker than anything he set on the hards. In comes Yuri. So Deco takes the lead once again on lap 16. We're just entering. Turbo Boy's going to come through and be in P2. Colin just ahead of Spin with the fresher tyres as well, so it's looking comfortable for Colin getting another podium here. It's got a bit of a gap though to Deco and Turbo Boy ahead. Spin in. Now we've got a big battle here. We've got Zimmer struggling a bit with Harry behind him. So the soft's definitely going off. Under a lot of pressure. We've also got Genesis trying to get past Wack as well. So he's going for it. No, he lifts. He lifts. And Wack gets the exit wrong. Is he going to chuck it in now and punish Wack? Wack's going too wide around this corner. He's going to try and keep the speed, but he has to lift a little bit too much. Then we've got Harry and Zimmer still battling. Harry's trying to go around the outside of this corner, a little bit too wide on the exit. Zimmer keeps it for now. Oh no. Yeah, not a good move. Definitely not a good move, that one. And that is 3 spots lost for Zimmer. Oh, lots of little bits of contact through there, but yeah, Zimmer's falling a little bit too far back now. Genesis wants this position on Harry. Harry with much more worn medium, so he's going to have a hard time for the rest of this race. He went for the undercut, and now this is his reward, trying to hold on to a P5. Zimmer's carrying on for another lap. So it's settled down a little bit with this battle. Let's see anything else that's happening. Yuri has come out down in P14 on only slightly less worn tyres than JMS, so it's not going to be that easy for him to make progress. Final lap he'll be pretty quick though. Pyro just set his quickest lap of the race of 46.3, so he's ahead of H-Boss. H-Boss closing in up the hill. Yeah, good straight line speed there for Pyro, helps him stay comfortably ahead of H-Boss. Wack now in P7 behind Genesis. Genesis still trying to chase down Harry, but Harry looking a bit more comfortable on this lap. 2.5 for Spin. This is going to bring him back into this battle. Not enough, actually. He's still comfortably ahead of Harry that he can start driving away. But his chances of a podium look a lot grimmer than they previously did. So let's do a tyre check at the top. Deco's tyres look pretty good, about 20% worn. Turbo's a lot more worn, he's probably 40%. Colin has nothing to worry about, Spin has nothing to worry about. Harry is going to start struggling at the end of this race. Or maybe even now, because here comes Genesis. Just at 45.8, very quick lap. Zimmer's in the pits for his second stop. Again, you need to be staying as much in the slipstream as possible up there to avoid losing that momentum. He's going to gain it back now, but it's not going to be enough to go for a move. Harry really late on the brakes there. Still makes the corner. Oh, okay. Bit deep there from Genesis. He's definitely got the speed, but I think he's struggling to know what to do with his car when he's clearly got the overspeed on Harry into some of these corners, but having to adjust his braking, he's overcorrecting a little bit, and it's causing him to lose ground on Harry. Wax being dropped off a little bit though now. What about this battle further back? Oh, Pyro's had a penalty. He's just dropped down to 10th. It's going to be 11th. It's going to be side by side into this corner between him and Pasty. Pasty shuts the door on him. Good late move there for Pasty. Sorry about that. Okay, let's do another recap then. 45.6 is Deco's current lap time. Good 7/10 ahead of Turbo, who I think is starting to get caught up by Colin, who's the quickest man on track. 45.3. Spin's doing pretty good at 45.6. Then we got 47s for Harry. Definitely holding up Genesis. Let's shake the order up a bit. Turbo is very close to the back of Colin now, so let's stick with this one. This might be the first of the action at the end of the race. What kind of lap time? He's half a second off his quickest, so we were looking at a mid-45 lap here, which is still pretty good. Remember, Turbo was in the 46s. Let's see what Turbo sets on this lap. Still in the 46s, a whole second slower than Colin. And now slipstream is potentially going to start coming into play. It's like a great turn one for Turbo Boy there. So this is definitely good for Mason in the championship. Another podium on the cards for him. It's going to extend it even further. He's got this consistency, still not won a race, but he's got the consistency that you'd basically need in this format to perform well in both races, to build a nice cushion. And so far no one else in this tier has been solidly in, I would say, the top 8 consistently all season. That was a great corner from Colin. Turbo was really out of shape through there. Now he's having to go defensive into this corner. So is the cut back on for Colin? Not quite. That was a good, well-defended corner there for Turbo. Now what's Colin going to try and do? Nothing yet. He's going to have 3 more laps for him to try and get up into this P2. Deco is still looking comfortable in the 45s. Again, a really good corner there for Colin. Now Can he get a solid exit? He is in slipstream now. Is he going to chuck it into turn 1? No. He's going to focus on the exit. And again, a good exit for turn 1 for Turbo Boy. So this is keeping him out of trouble in the most important corner for overtaking. Might just get reeled in again though. Not quite. And his tyres are approaching 80, oh yeah, over 80% worn compared to maybe 60-70%. Something's happened between Spin and Genesis by the looks of things. Genesis down in 6th. Harry, what's happened with Harry? Harry's going wide again, and he's gonna just hand that position to Genesis in the end after quite a few laps of pressure. So Genesis up into 5th now. And Colin trying to go the long way around the outside here. Maybe to try and get a good exit. Just misses out on getting a penalty there. Turns the car in time. Turbo going defensive already. A little bit later on the brakes for Colin. Pinches Turbo to the apex, but Turbo gets a good exit again. Really good driving between these two. Actually, the top 3 were all in Tier 2 last season. So, 2 more times for Colin to try and regroup. He needs to nail this turn 1, or he needs Turbo Boy to make a mistake, a little mistake in turn 1 to kill his momentum. And again, it was a good exit for Turbo, although he takes that corner incredibly wide, and this one. So that's, I don't know what he was doing, but that's killed his acceleration compared to Colin's. Still going to be just about enough though. And look at the tyres, I think that might be why. Now we're approaching 90% and he's struggling. This is the corner where he's going to struggle the most as well. Colin trying to find a way to get past, but can't get any space to go into. A little bit deep again for Turbo Boy, but not deep enough for Colin again. That was a good exit there for Colin. He got on the throttle very early. Turbo once again going defensive. It's not making it easy for this P2. Again, very late on the brakes in that corner for Colin. Still not able to get on the throttle as early as he'd like. So we're going into the final lap, and I thought, never mind. And it's still Turbo's to lose here. I think he'll just about get away with it on his tyres, but this is going to be the toughest lap for him. He's gone wide at the final corner. This might just end up making it easy for Colin, who got a great exit there. Turbo was trying to go defensive, but Colin found a gap and put his car there. Turbo is good at this first corner. It's not over yet. So it's been great news for Deco that this battle's been going on for the whole second half of the race. He's miles down, you can't even see him on the screen. Colin's going defensive here. Turbo's going to try and get on the inside still, and he's going to overshoot surely. That's going to be a reset to track, and he's going to lose a spot to Spin as well. Spin gets promoted to 3rd. Absolute disaster there for Turbo. He was just a little bit too tight on the entry, and yeah, it did completely overshoot. And when you do that, you do get reset to track. There's Genesis, potentially fancying a move. He does have the fresher tyres on Turbo. Turbo going wide again. I have a feeling he'd have lost that spot to Colin for sure. What can Genesis do? Turbo a little bit wide again. Genesis just taking beautiful exit there. Comfortably gets the position on Turbo Boy. I don't think Turbo's got anything to fight this with now. But let's go back to Deco. We've only got a couple of corners left. Pretty commanding race from Deco, which I was expecting to see this season. Obviously put him on my choices in the predicted challenge. So he's going to shoot up the standings with a victory in the feature race of Watkins Glen. Well done for him. Colin, a very comfortable P2 in the end after battling really hard for it. Gets the fastest lap point as well. Spin, another one with a double podium today. Strongest result for Spin for quite a while. Genesis P4. Great result for him. Turbo Boy 5th in the end. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed, but another top 5. Harry in 6th and Wack in 7th after just falling off the top pack as the race wore on. H-Boss with a P8 in the feature, much better than his sprint. Cherry in 9th, recovered well. Same with Pyro, still gets the top 10 for his efforts. Yuri, going very wide at the final corner. On the 2-stop, he's beaten the other driver on the 2-stop, Zimmer. So he gets P11. But that is the, yeah, he could have had higher, probably, if he'd have made the 1-stop work. Zimmer 12th, JMS 13th. We got Pasty is across the line in 14th, and then Kenny is going to be scoring the final point in P15, and Astral, who was doing very well in the championship, getting a DNF and losing a bit of ground there. I think he's P4 as it stands. So Colin is a very strong championship leader at the moment. I'll try and stream Sainte Croix tomorrow. So yeah, join me then. Thanks for watching, guys.